We are a small group of professionals who are examining the backlogs of cold cases and closed cases within our files. Cases of a very specific kind. When genre fans take their love of media too far, you get twisted, real-life criminal acts. Small town, California. 2 teenagers go on a deadly rampage, leaving behind 7 bodies, including their own.
What?
Their deadly reign of terror was focused around a young high school girl. They slaughtered her friends in cold blood while dressed in an unassuming disguise.
Wait a minute. Are you talking about Scream?
Of course I'm talking about Scream. That's what you want me to talk about, isn't it?
Yeah, but you're forgetting all the important parts. I mean, Scream literally brought the slasher genre back from the dead. You gotta do it justice.
Well, if you have such an issue with how I'm talking about it, why don't you do it?
Fine. Scream came out on December 20th, 1996. It was directed by the gnarliest man alive, Wes Craven. It also starred Neve Campbell as Sidney Prescott, Final Girl Supreme. Aren't you excited, detective?
I am excited. It was the highest grossing film until Blumhouse's Halloween in 2018. The numbers speak for themselves.
It's not about the numbers, it's about the impact.
Impact on what, Jane? Please, enlighten us.
Society.
Figures are actually right for once. Scream has had an impact on society. It's truly a fantastic film, an actual masterpiece of the genre, but it comes with some baggage.
What do you mean, detective?
Well, Jane, when some people see movies like Scream, rather than just be entertained, they're inspired.
To make movies like it?
If only it was that simple. No, they don't want to make movies like it. They want to make it happen in real life.
You're kidding.
I wish that I were. What's become known as the Idaho Scream murder case involves 2 knives, a few high schoolers, and a plan. Bring me my bulletin board. On the night of September 24th, 2006, a happy family of 5 returned home to a grisly scene. The body of their 16-year-old relative, Cassie Jo Stoddart, lying dead in their living room. Cassie had agreed to stay at her aunt and uncle's home for the weekend while they were away on trip. She was supposed to look after the house and the pets. But on 6 p.m. on Friday, Cassie invites her boyfriend, Matt Beckham, and their 2 friends, Brian Draper and Torey Adamcik, over to watch a movie.
It was the boyfriend.
No, Jane, just...
It wasn't the boyfriend. It was one of the friends.
If you would let me explain...
I'm just trying to guess.
I'm aware. But these are not characters in a movie. These are real people, Jane.
Yeah, sorry, of course. Go on.
As I was saying, Cassie invites her boyfriend, Matt Beckham, and their 2 friends, Brian Draper and Torey Adamcik, over to her aunt and uncle's home. There, she gives them a complete tour of the house, including the basement.
Scary things always happen in the basement.
Afterwards, they sit down to watch Kill Bill Volume 2 in this same living room where Cassie would be found dead just 48 hours later. At about 8 p.m., Draper and Adamcik depart to go see a movie at the local theater, leaving Cassie and her boyfriend alone. Just 15 minutes later, the power goes out. The dog begins to growl at the basement door.
Isn't the circuit breaker in the basement?
Yes, Jane. Thank you. The house, now in darkness, an anxious Cassie asks Beckham to remain with her overnight. He calls his mother to ask for permission, but does not get it. He would have to leave Cassie's side for the night.
Gag me with a spoon. My mom so would have done that.
At 10:30 p.m., Matt's mother picks him up and brings him back home, leaving Cassie all alone. No one would ever see her alive again. And at some point between Matt's departure at 10:30 p.m. on the 22nd and the arrival of her family on the morning of the 24th, Cassie Jo Stoddart was murdered.
Whoa.
We now go to the coroner for more information.
Gah! Why do you have a skeleton?
Have you 2 not been acquainted yet?
Acquainted with a skeleton?
Of course. This is my trusty assistant, Pamela. She'll be my stand-in for the victim. Cassie's chest, neck, and torso were found to likely be punctured by a rectangular-shaped blade tapered into a point at the end.
In other terms, a knife.
Precisely. The medical examiner determined the wounds to her torso were the most fatal, as well as damage to the right ventricle of her heart. 2 different knives were used in the attack. One was serrated. One was a dagger. The dagger caused one of Cassie's 12 fatal wounds. The serrated blade was responsible for the remaining 11 fatal wounds that were sustained by Cassie.
Thank you, Doctor. Now the question remains, who could have done this?
This is Criminal Acts, and here's a word from our sponsors.
Trick-or-treating. It's a big to-do. Everybody is wearing costumes and begging their parents to stay out later. But it's important to do it safely. I know Halloween has already come and gone this year, but it's not too early to start preparing for next year. Safety's always in season. Always come out with a group of people. Your friends, your family, anyone you trust. When you knock on the door, stay at a respectable distance. You don't want to fall victim to any grabbers. And do not, I repeat, do not go inside if an unfriendly figure invites you in. Move on to the next house. Hello? Oh, I agree. Safety's always in season. I know it's a bit outdated, but always check your candy. While it's unlikely that you'll find a razor blade, you may stumble across other dangerous items. Always check and never accept anything that's potentially been tampered with. If you follow these simple steps, you're on track for a successful Halloween. Happy trick-or-treating. See you out there.
Matt Beckham, Cassie's boyfriend, and the police's first suspect, was the last one to see her alive before she was found on Sunday, the 24th. Beckham left Cassie alone the night she was last seen alive. However, he was stricken from the police's suspect list because he had a strong alibi and was willing to work with them. One of the things Beckham shared with the police is the presence of his friends, Draper and Torey Adamcik, at the house earlier the same night. With Beckham's help, the police were able to bring the boys in for their first interrogation on Monday, September 25th, 2006, one day after Cassie's body was found. Over the following 5 days, Draper and Adamcik were interviewed 4 separate times by police. On the first interrogation, both Adamcik and Draper firmly denied all allegations of their involvement in Cassie's death. Jane, do you mind reading this for me?
Adamcik claimed that he and Draper arrived at Cassie's aunt and uncle's house at around 8:30 p.m. He said that he and Draper thought Cassie was having some sort of party, but when they arrived, no one except she and her boyfriend were there. The two of them then left for the movies and returned to Adamcik's house for the night.
There's already some inconsistencies with Adamcik's timeline. Jane, do continue.
The police pressed the boys for details about the film they claimed to have seen after leaving Cassie's house, but neither Draper nor Adamcik could remember any basic plot details.
After further questioning, Adamcik and Draper admitted to being present for the murder. Both accused the other of being the primary perpetrator. Adamcik admitted to stabbing Cassie, but claimed it was under Draper's command. By the time the 4 interviews were complete, both boys had admitted to playing a part in Cassie's murder. The police had their killers.
That's crazy.
The interrogations ended with Draper leading the police to the spot he and Adamcik had hidden the evidence, Idaho's Black Rock Canyon. Coroner.
There, the police found items of much import. Among them were the 2 knives used to stab Cassie Stoddart over 30 times. There was also another dagger, a folding knife, red and white Halloween masks, black cloaks, latex gloves, a burned note, and a camera with a videotape inside.
A videotape?
Correct.
Let's have a look at that, why don't we? Jane?
On it. This clip was one of many shown at the trial which depicted the boys outlining their plan. Earlier in the night, when Cassie showed the boys around the house, they cracked a door open in the basement. After the boys supposedly left the premises around 8, they actually snuck back in through the cracked basement door wearing masks and cloaks. This is where they caused the power outage. Their unfamiliar presence made the dog growl. After they heard Beckham leave, the boys supposedly struck.
Nicely done, Jay. Now the question still remains. Why did they do this? And what does it have to do with Scream? Psychologist.
Finally, the stuff that's actually important. I thought you forgot about me. In the tapes shown in the trial, Draper can be heard saying, quote, "We're gonna be just like Scream, but in real life," end quote.
But was that the truth or just a convenient excuse?
Well, it's not unprecedented for criminals to fall back on media after the fact, but that's not to say the connection between Draper and Adamcik's crime and the movie isn't there. The costumes Draper and Adamcik wore do bear a resemblance to Ghostface's iconic costume, but the image clearly shows that it's not an exact match. In addition, the boys both use knives, Ghostface's primary weapon in Scream. And lastly, several aspects of the boys' plan do seem to line up with several plots from the movie. The murder of Cassie, a girl alone in her house, does match the opening scene from Scream, which makes sense, as Cassie was intended to be their first kill of many.
What's the probability that these similarities are just coincidence?
Well, it'd be difficult to argue that they're pure coincidence, wouldn't you say? The true question, however, is whether they did this because they watched Scream, or if Scream gave them inspiration to commit crimes they were already planning on committing.
Scream is a movie where teenagers murder each other. I'd say that's already a provocative premise in itself.
Actually, Scream is a well-known critique of movies that do that exact thing.
But it still does, doesn't it? It shows teenagers that they're capable of it.
That may be true. However, Draper and Adamcik both claimed in their tapes that they are psychopaths, which suggests a predisposition to violent behavior regardless of the media in the movie. At one point, Adamcik can be heard telling Draper, quote, "We're not okay. Then we are sick psychopaths who get their pleasure off killing other people," end quote. They were clearly elated after they killed Cassie.
But in the same video, they're heard saying that they think Scream is cool. They want to be like Scream because they thought it'd bring them the same fame and recognition as Ted Bundy or Jeffrey Dahmer.
How many people think Scream is cool and haven't killed anybody? The boys committed this crime entirely of their own volition. Watching Scream did not make them murder a teenage girl in cold blood.
I agree, but that doesn't mean it didn't plant the seed.
Well, as Billy himself said in Scream, quote, "Movies don't make psychos. Movies make psychos more creative," end quote.
Oh, so we're just gonna quote movies to prove our point now. Why should we even listen to anything you have to say?
I am literally a psychologist.
And may I remind you, an unlicensed one at that.
Hey, I graduated.
All right, let's cool our jets here. I think we got enough.
Enough? We've barely scratched the surface.
Well, we'll have plenty of time to inquire for the the question of whether media has an influence on crime. Once we get through all these bad boys, huh? Get a little more funding for the department?
You used inquire wrong, but suppose you're right.
We could really use some money. I need more hydrochloric acid. For research purposes.
Today on Criminal Acts, we discuss the murder of Cassie Jo Stoddart, also known as the Idaho Scream murder. Next time, we get a little more into Halloween spirit. This is Jane, signing off. Thanks for watching.
Criminal Acts? That's the final title we're going with? Did we agree on this?
How do we even know we're gonna do another one of these?
Because we're trying to keep this place afloat. Work with me here.
Wait a minute. Jane, was that you in that commercial?